We're surrounded by symbols, triangles that serve as a warning, stick figures that send us to the right washroom. A green leaf tells me ancestry has found me a new relative. Symbols prove very useful as a shorthand for important things in our lives. We see the heart on a card and it tells us love. We see a skull and crossbones and are warned of poison. We see a dove and think of peace. A veil speaks to a wedding, and a sports shirt bears a team's logo for instant identification. And a cross proclaims Christianity. But symbols are not necessarily static. The cross has not always been a Christian symbol. It was used long before Jesus. The prehistoric sun cross, the Egyptian ankh, and the Slavic hands of God all incorporate the cross. Similarly, the cross was not even the original symbol of Christianity. In the early years of the faith, an anchor was what spoke to the followers of the Jesus movement. This was the chosen symbol because of its association with St. Paul's declaration. We have this hope as an anchor for the soul, firm and secure. In the earliest days of the faith, when it was severely persecuted, the anchor represented the strength necessary to hold the ship against the storms of life. And stormy were those times for the early followers of Jesus. Looking closely, one might identify the shank and stock of the anchor as a hidden cross, but until the Christian faith became that of Rome, the anchor, not the cross, was used to mark a refuge for Christians. And an anchor, or many anchors, is what we all need in life. Anchors go up and anchors go down. One lifts the anchor and sails off to embark on new adventures or a new life. One lets the anchor down to remain securely in the place where one intends to remain, or for protection from drifting with the tide or being tossed about by a storm. I have an old favorite hymn, yes, written by a 19th century spinster, that questions, will your anchor hold in the storms of life, when the clouds unfold their wings of strife, when the strong tides lift and the cables strain, will your anchor drift or firm remain? And then the hymn gives the answer. We have an anchor that keeps the soul steadfast and sure while the billows roll, fastened to the rock which cannot move, grounded firm and deep in the Saviour's love. Well, we all have our anchors in life. Certainly God is one of them in the faith that keeps you anchored to truths and a way of life that is strong. Our faith, our church family, are strengths in times of trial. It's what I love about the old Book of Common Prayer and the Roman Catholics love about the old Latin Rite. The knowledge that across the centuries and the world, others are saying the same prayers, reading the same lessons, and praying to the same God in the same way. It's a sense of community that anchors one, the community sharing your anchorage and refuge in times of trial. But there are other anchors. I would wager that family is high on the list. When the world feels as if it's going mad, we want to be with family, to know that they are safe and feeling safe with them. The familiarity comforts and anchors us. We may be clinging to them far tighter than usual in these days of COVID, but family is a wonderful anchor. Feeling needed and wanted makes for strong links to the anchor. Our home is another anchor. Walk in, close the door, even lock it, and feel the safety that comes with the familiar, with what one controls and determines, our very own refuge from the storms of life. When we feel that we're flying off in 1,000 directions, so much to worry about, so much that's unfamiliar and threatening, we seek out our partner, our best friend, to help to restore a semblance of sanity to all that seems so unreal. Knowing that they are there for you and that they need you to be there for them lends great weight to that anchor. Another great anchor is our work, our job, our profession. It gives a reason to get up in the morning, a sense of self-worth, a feeling of accomplishment and the means of supporting yourself and those you love. It is such a strong anchor when things go well. But when the job is lost or the terms and conditions change, it is very unsettling and we feel adrift. Anchors are something we want to trust will always be there, always doing their job, always available to cling to and be safe. And so many of our anchors have become a bit tossed about in the past year. The world we counted on, the world we've known all our lives, has gone all topsy-turvy, month after month, and that is a scary thing indeed. Many of our anchors are not holding. Friends and family are not readily at hand. Doors are locked against our coming together, and those we love die without our presence. Our workplaces are either closed to us or under severe pressure. Essential workers never seem able to escape the strains and the dangers, and yet they keep soldiering on. Working at home sounded like a holiday when it started, but the double demands of work and family has proven a confounding set of demands for many. Reporting to the boss and supervising homeschooling while getting dinner in the oven is challenging. Being creative and being practical clash. And when does work end or fun begin? Watching the morning news, children run in and out of the shot, and the apologetic laughs at barking dogs and screaming teens has grown a bit thin. The tiny downtown condo that put young professionals in the center of everything that makes city living exciting becomes a cage all its own when one works there and sleeps there and cannot go out to play at night. So the anchors of home and family can feel a bit shaky, not as safe and secure as you need them to be. The escape to work is elusive. The doors are locked. The contacts and supports are pushed to the limits as we try to get the job done in a vacuum in which we were never trained to function. Masks and distancing take away the familiar, and I'm particularly bad at this. Yesterday, on a visit to the hospital, 3 people recognized me by name, and I had no idea who they were. And I don't know how many times I've waved at or greeted a stranger, thinking they were kin. So the familiar becomes unfamiliar, and there are no guideposts for this journey. The external anchors of life being skewed by the pressure and the strangeness of our times, we have to look inward to the greatest strengths of all. The strength of our faith and our faith in oneself. Sounds challenging, but this really is where all the anchors of life connect. We're not part of the anchors themselves, but are the links of the chain that attaches the anchor to the vessel. And in life, each of us are links in the chain. Sometimes the links wear thin with wear and stress and life in general. Sometimes we need 2 links together to secure the chain. Sometimes the links threaten to crack and break, and that is when we must be strong for each other. And our links are to more than one chain, more than one anchor. But it is the individual strength and faith and love in each of us that secures us one to the other, to the chain. You find strength anchored within your family because they know you and find strength in you. You find strength anchored in your work because it reflects your talents and vocation. You find strength anchored in your home because it's where you retreat to rest and be restored. And even when changed, within you that solace remains. You find strength anchored in your faith and your God, ever constant and true, and waiting for you to seek that healing and assurance and truth. And that anchor never fails. We may fail to ask, we may fail to trust, we may fail to accept the gifts on offer, but that anchor will ever hold fast for you. Just have faith in God and have faith in you. In the meantime, we all can anchor others. Sometimes we are the ones needing that chain to the security of being held fast, and other times we can be the anchor that holds others true. And that is what we are called upon to do in times like these. It's not enough to seek safety and security for ourselves, for I assure you, there are others in greater need than you. There are others who particularly need you. And in joining our links, we are anchoring others, no matter how frail may seem your chain, your link, your anchor to the eternal need of humanity for others, for friends and family and colleagues, and for God. Reach out and your chain strengthens. Reach out and know that all will be well, for your anchor will hold through the storms of life. May your voyage through life be blessed with friendly winds and an anchor that rises to sail and sets to save. So may it be. Amen. And don't forget to find a service with which to worship, online or on TV. It really is what you need. Strengthening our faith and worshiping our God are the finest of ways to embrace our anchor. Until next week, be well, be faithful, and know that you are loved.